Hey, what's up, everybody? Got some good news. There's no bad news, but maybe in the future I might tell you stuff, and not right now is not a good time. But further ado here, guys. Okay, I'll be back on the chase on a Sunday. Now, the reasons why I don't like going to other railroads right now is because I don't have much money, and I don't want to spend as much money, and I like to have money to, stay in the local areas. But I'm about to so I just, like I said, I got me a windshield job, and I'm collecting money so I can do other rail fan areas. I mean, go to other places where rail fans would go. And so I want to see if I can try to go up to DeQueen and film up in that area, film trains going through there. There's nothing going on a Saturday on the DeQueen side, but mostly Friday's mostly the time that they're going to run to Derrick's and back. They only run through Sunday through Friday. Most on the Friday, they mostly stay on the DeQueen on the eastern side of the line, but mostly on Thursdays, they mostly run back and forth in the same night. That's what my friends do. They run back and forth and the same night. Instead of waiting to go through like every other night, they go through in the exact same night. So that way is they don't have to worry about doing crew changes and stuff there at the depot there in Valiant, and in the crew change there at their base. So but pretty soon I want to explore other railroads and film other railroads, like there's only a few railroads that's mostly in my area, and it's mostly the the KCS line it's east of here. It's on the east side of here. Now there's two locations, and probably where I probably can go film a train, and that's probably Heavener, Oklahoma, and DeQueen. There's three places. Heavener, Oklahoma, and DeQueen, Arkansas. DeQueen City. DeQueen City there in DeQueen, Arkansas. And also Ashdown. Ashdown's more the closest place that I'll be able to film even more. I don't want to go to Texarkana because I don't know anything about Texarkana. I don't know anything about what the people are in Texarkana are like. I've been to Texarkana, but I don't know what the people are like downtown where the railroad is actually at. So that's mostly, I'm not gonna go down there right now, but maybe in the future I will. But I've been downtown, but I don't know anything about that area. But I know there's a road down there because I've been down there in that area. It's a railroad hub, so it's a hot spot. It's a railroad hot spot. But Hope, Arkansas, there's a good place there. The Kiamichi Road runs through there. The Queen Railroad goes through there. But the UP and the DQ&E, they both have a border. One half of the line belongs to UP, and one half belongs to the Queen Eastern. But their tracks meet with each other, not like two switches, not like a V switch where it goes off, but the two tracks meet with each other. They butt up with each other because it'd be like one side you're in Arkansas, one half you're in Oklahoma. So UP and the DeQueen Eastern they both share the exact same line, except on one half. So one half is UP and one half is UP. One half is UP and one half is the DQ&E. That's really cool because Kiamichi Railroad had a border too between the they had borders between the Louisiana Southeastern Railroad. But they ripped some of their tracks up from theirs from Hope, Arkansas. So Kiamichi Road got half of their line, and so between the Louisiana Southeastern and the Queen Railroad, not the Queen Roads, but sorry, the Kiamichi Railroad, they had a border too. But that all changes when you don't have customers on the line, and that type of thing. So that's what happens when customers lose. They lose and come out of the area, and the railroads lose their business from their customers leaving. So because if a business leaves the area, the railroad will abandon every stretch of track that there's no industry. Now, if there's an industry and the industry comes back into play, then they'll reactivate the line and then re-put it back the way it was before. But usually, even if the businesses are not on the line, but all the businesses are in between the cities and towns, the line they'll keep the line connected, because basically that's what you're supposed to do, is keep the lines connected. And in the future, mostly haul stuff. It's very, very heavy on the rail bar, and upgrade to the thicker rail bar instead of the lower ones. Go up to the higher standard ones. But like I said before, I had friends that told me that Kiamichi Railroad had a contract with the paper mill in Ashdown. They lost the contract to that, so McCormick, now it's a railroad company. They bidded them from it, and so Kiamichi Railroad lost the bid, and McCormick got the bid for that. So, but basically that saves the Kiamichi Railroad from going into the mill and switching for the mill and other stuff. So McCormick has that job. But there's some news and there's some bad news. I heard down the grapevine that down the line there's gonna be some changes to the railroads. It's not because of us or nothing. It's just you gotta be careful out there. You don't know. You just gotta be careful out there, But the bad news is not that at all. I was just kidding with you. Now the bad news is that I'm just joking with you. There is no bad news. But guys, if you're gonna film on railroad property, do not be filming. Do not be filming the train. Do not be filming. Do not be walking in the center of the tracks, filming a freight train in front, because that's not good. Because my friends told me that there has been rail fans that is basically taking pictures of the train in the center on the tracks, not on the side. Basically, you're not supposed to do that. Period. I can understand that you're wanting to take pictures of the train and stuff like that, but you can take pictures of a train going over the overpass, over bridges, or on the side of a railroad crossing, because that's what I do. Most of my shots are mostly on the sidelines of the railroad tracks, not in the center, but basically that's not what you're supposed to do. I've been hearing stories about people taking pictures of trains on the railroad tracks. That's not what you're supposed to do. I've been hearing stories about that, of somebody getting killed of doing that. And so that's not what you're supposed to do. If you're going to take pictures of a train, it has to be on the side. Because my friends do not, they don't mind if you film them or take pictures of them, because we're railroad fans and they're railroad, and they love that. We are their brothers and sisters. But they don't like that whenever you're taking pictures on the railroad tracks, on the center, or the two rail, or the you know what I'm talking about. They just don't like that because you really don't know if they're gonna be backing up or going forward. And so, my friends, they told me that a couple of rail fans were taking pictures in the center of the railroad tracks. That's not where you're supposed to be. If you're going to film or take pictures, it has to be on the side. Really, who'd do that? Really, why would you do that? It's dumb. I'm just giving you tips. Do not be doing that. But mostly is, don't be taking pictures on the railroad tracks, period. Not unless it's on a short line and you know if the train went through, but don't do it in a switch yard. Don't do that, period, if you're in a switch yard. If you're in the middle of nowhere and stuff like that, that's fine. But not on big boy lines, because you really don't know if there's going to be a train coming every hour of the minute. So basically, I wouldn't try it anyways. Short lines are more better photography than first class rail lines. I'm just putting it out there that I'm not telling you to quit taking pictures of the railroad tracks or the trains. Period. I'm just telling you can still take pictures of the train, but it has to be on the side, not in the center of the tracks where the train's coming towards you. My friends do not like that. I know other railroad companies don't like that either. And I have watched Jawtooth's videos. I don't know why the railroad crew will be getting on to Jawtooth or rail fans of that state. I really don't know that. I don't reason why that. Because really, I think conductors, if they're gonna be mean like that, legally they're not supposed to leave railroad property. Legally, they're not supposed to take pictures of your tag or anything like that. That's against the law. That's the invade of privacy of your privacy, because you're not doing nothing. But most part, those could be the mean ones, but they'll mostly be they'll get talked to. I'm just putting it out there. Those are Jawtooth videos, and I've seen those, and I don't know why. I don't know why the engineer and the conductor are like that. But that's not like an engineer or a train conductor to do that. I don't know. I don't know why it's making them do that. I don't know. I don't know if it's somebody that's trying to impersonate a railroad fan, and they're harassing the crew. I don't know. I've just been watching Jawtooth's videos, and that's when I saw that video, because they seen our vehicle and stuff, and then there's wanting to get his tag number and stuff like that, and that is really odd. I mean, in that it's really odd for a crew to do that. Basically, crews don't do that anyways. But I don't know. All train engineers and stuff like that, they're all good. They're all good. Either way, they're still good. It's just sometimes they have bad days, and basically they get people that don't like them as much, and they're, that type of thing. I mean, I wouldn't worry about that personally, but I just put it out there that there's conductors out there, engineer conductors might do that, but be aware of that. But which y'all know that anyways. But that's the reasons why That's the reasons why that we should always let stuff go. Even if you're wrong, they're right, or you're right, or they're wrong, you still have to let it go. Either way, even if the train conductor or the engineer or train conductor are mean to you, always let it go, because eventually they'll get talked to by the boss of them. They'll get in trouble for being mean to a rail fan and stuff like that. And I don't know why. I just don't know why. I mean, it's really odd for somebody. That's really odd for the railroad to do that. And Jawtooth was filming on public property, and he got it on camera that he was filming on I'm used to saying private property, but he was filming on public property. And I don't know, that's really odd, but I think the engineer and the conductor, they're going to get a talking to of being like that, because there's actually proof that he was filming on public property, and they said some mean things to him they said mean things that should not have been said to a rail fan. That's very hurtful, and it's very disrespect of the people who really looks up to you. Cause I look up to my fans, and I do look up to my railroad family on the DQD, and I do look up to my others on the Kamichi Railroad. I look up to all the railroads, because I look up to all of them, because I believe in railroads. I believe in every last bit of it. I believe it. But usually if they something mad or anything, just let it go. Just let it be. Just let it fly. Just let it go. Because my mom my mom and dad told me about, because I had some issues, and they helped me to fix it. And so they told me just let it go. Do not let it fester, and do not let it get to you. Don't let it. Just don't let the evil get in. Just brush it off. Let it go. Because someday that person may get his desserts. Somebody might get their desserts or something. So I'm just learning to let it go. So pretty soon I'll be out there again. I'm not gonna be out there as much because I'm currently gonna be working, but I will be out there after I get off of work. Oh, I will always be out there filming the freight train with DQ&E and the Kiamichi Railroad too. So, but mostly I will, after my days off or something, I will go off and go find other railroads to photography besides the Kiamichi Railroad and the DQ&E. But I gotta have the money and the gas and the time to do that, and travel so far to see other rail lines, including the first class rail lines that are or short lines go into and they connect to and work with. But there is bad news, but there's gonna be good news. So there's no bad news. I just want to make a joke of that and see what y'all would think or what you'd say. But this goes to all my viewers and my subscribers out there, and the people who watches me, known as y'all viewers and you subscribers. And I'm proud to be out there with my friends out there on the hot routes of the DQ&E Railroad and the Kiamichi Railroad as well, known as the KRR, and known as the Queen Eastern Railroad, known as the DQ&E TONE Railroad. So later on I will give you updates, but there is good news there on New 98. The Kiamichi Railroad is putting in new railroad crossings, gated arms. They're putting in gated arms there at New 98, right there beside Highway 70 and Millerton, Oklahoma. Because pretty soon, they're getting tired of people running the railroad crossings with my friends going through there. So there's now they are putting up gates up, which that actually needed gates anyways, besides railroad crossing and lights. So that's the good news. But the bad news is this is no joke. Now the bad news is there won't be any more ungated crossings here on the Kiamichi Railroad, or just here on the Kiamichi Railroad, period. They're getting rid of that. And I can understand now some places might have ungated crossings, but that depends on how much traffic and the road it is. I'm sorry if I'm itching. I itch all over. I'm itching by the ear, the nose. I'm itching down here. I've been fishing lately, and I've been staying fishing. I want to stay fishing. And hopefully next time I'll get to go fishing with my friend on the boat on Pine Creek Lake. Some of you may not be from this area. Some of you may do. But I'll be going fishing with them. They're gonna go camping. My boss will. So I'll go to Pine Creek Lake and catch me some big, huge bass. Probably about this big. Hard as may just catch something like this. But I've been out going fishing in other areas. I've been out exploring. Now there's some bad news. There's been some ugly places with private property signs. So if you see a private property sign, do not go beyond that. Mostly stay on public property, and that tough stuff. Mostly right beside highways, mostly where there's a big chunk and stuff like that. That's public property. But when you go beyond public property, you're on their property, and they may not like that. But you can always ask them if you can be on their property. They might say yes or no or maybe, but mostly they might say no, but they might say yes. That kind of depends. But if you go on a map, you might find places where you can probably get to. Now, there's a couple of places that I probably can fish somewhere in Valiant It's on the outskirts. It's on the old. It's on the old highway. It's down a dirt road. So I'm gonna look. So I looked it up. It's on Google Map. So the only way to access that is by walking the railroad tracks. So that's the only that's the only place where you can probably do your fishing if you want to fish in a creek, because it's a pretty good creek. I might have seen on that. I don't know if it's gonna pan out or not, but I want to try it out. But I want to wait when it's a nice, good, warm day. I want to park my truck. I want to park my truck on the side of where the road crossings are, and just park my vehicle and just walk down the tracks just to get to the place to fish, because that's the only way you can ever access that is by railroads, because basically you can't put a gate beside the railroad. I mean, you can't put a gate right there on railroad where the rocks are, because basically roads have to have 30 feet. That's the fence line, because that's what makes property through these areas. Mostly railroads. Railroads will carve out where their property is and theirs is. So 30 feet is railroad property. So if somebody tells you get off my property, you're not on their property. That's railroad property. So, and mostly there's been cases that people would say that somebody owns this, but they really don't, and and they, that type of thing. But some people do need to look up. They need to look up about railroad, about federal laws and railroad laws. It's all the same. Now, there's some people don't know about that stuff because, they just don't know. They forget about it. But I never forget about my history about that stuff, because I know you can film on private property as long as you got permission. But if the railroad don't mind, then you're cooking with Crisco. But some people may have some people might live there around the track area. Some of them may have a problem with that, but that's not up to them, because if they tell you hey, you can't be on railroad property, basically they have no right to tell you can or can't. I met a couple people like that, and I have schooled them on that. Schooled them on that means I basically told them that you have no right. You can't tell me. You can't tell me what I can and can't do on here. And they understood, and they left me alone. Now you're gonna meet those people that they're not gonna back down, or you're gonna back down. Like my parents told me, just be the bigger man and just go on with it. That's all. That's all you have to do. So I mean, if it's with police or anything, just be the bigger man and just go on. Don't get mad. Just brush it off. Because my parents are right. Just brush it off. He's just doing his job. That's all. That's all. That's all they do. They do their job. That's a good thing. But we all know that law enforcement has no jurisdiction over our property whatsoever. But basically, a cop can say, just, hey, look, be careful on rural property. Get out of their way, stay out of their way. Do not block them, or other stuff like that. Do not block them or harass them or nothing like that. Just stay out of their way. That's all they can say. And I have met cops like that, and they understood. They understand. And I met a couple of good ones. They're very nice and they're sweet. Some work in Broken Bow. Some of them work in Idabel. Some of them may work in Hugo. Some of them may work in Ashdown. And some of them may work in other places of areas where it's a populated areas. But railroads are exempt from city limits or city ordinance. Like I said, if you have anybody that's bothering you about that, just brush it off and go on with it. Because even though you're right, if he's wrong or whatever, or she's right or you're wrong or whatever, just brush it off. Just be the bigger man or the bigger woman. Just go on with it. Don't worry about that. Do not be pushing people. It's not really good. So just brush it off. Just go on with it. Just don't worry about it. But I'm putting this out here for anybody that, if they have a grudge against somebody, do not have a grudge against somebody. Just let it go. Do not let it fester. Do not let it sit into your mind, because you don't want that. Think of it like the dark side. You don't want the dark side taking you over. And I watch Star Wars, and basically that is true. You don't want the evil to take over your mind because if you let it fester and it makes you want to do something, you really don't want that. And my parents tell me they don't want to see me get hurt or anything of that sort, which they really love me. And they're telling me that you don't need to be doing something stupid or anything like that. I'm just putting this out here for anybody. Basically, do not. If you have a grudge against somebody, just let it go. Just don't let it fester. Do not let it set. Don't let it do anything. Just let it go. They're right. I had a grudge against somebody, and I decided to let it go because it's pointless. So I just became the bigger man, like my dad says. It's best to become a bigger man. My mom even told me that if something happened to me, they won't gain nothing. There's nothing to gain. So they're right. So guys, don't make mistakes that you don't want to regret. Mostly you want to be the good boys. Don't be like those bad boys or those bad girls out there. Because what they did was not real, and then look where it put them, and that's not where you want to be. Or look where it put them, 6 feet in the ground, and you really don't want that. Because some people do actually throw a lure out there, and they want you to fall for it. So basically, you just don't go for it. So that's what you do. So don't go for it. Don't stoop to their level. If they snoop to yours, just don't do nothing. Just be the bigger man. Just let it go. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I do anyways. It's kind of like this. You didn't know if it was private property. Well, even though he's mad at you, he has a right to be mad at you, but he doesn't have the right to be mad at you because you didn't know about it and you're not from the area or nothing like that. Then he'll cut you a break on that. He may cut you a break on that, but mostly you just brush it off, go on with it. Even though you made a mistake, sometimes it's not best to make the mistake, but mostly just don't regret it. And I'm telling you, just be the bigger man, the bigger woman. Just go on with it. You know, they're right or you're wrong, or you're right or they're wrong. Either way, they're just doing their job, and they're just doing it. So I mean, my friends here on the police force here, and the ones in Broke Bow, they did their job really great, and they're really good, and I love them, and I love what they do because I just love them because they're doing the good thing, you know. But I love everybody. I would like to find me a good girlfriend. Hopefully I do in the future. I want to find me a good girl that I want to be with. I'm not picky what color I get with. Black or white, it don't matter. I'd love to get with the girl and just be happy with her. Just be satisfied, because that's the only thing I'm missing on my checklist is a woman. Now, some of you were probably saying if you get married, it's going to change your real feeling forever. It may or it may not, but that depends. I want to have a girlfriend. I'm between that I don't need one and I do, because if I do get a girlfriend, I'm not going to be out as much filming, but I may just do the exact same thing even if I am married. But I'm in the point that I wouldn't mind having a girlfriend, and I would love it to go from there and to be her husband. I'm 25 years old. I want a girlfriend. I'm a guy, you know. Some of you women, some of you girls, some of you girls out there that is thinking of the same thing like a guy thinks. Because I'm really looking for a good woman that I can be with and be happy with. I want to find one in the real world, not on my phone, which I'm currently filming from. Right now, I'm filming in my room. Right now, I hope everybody's being safe out there with the weird, wacky weather we're currently having. We just had 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts that came through last night here where we live in Oklahoma. It came through. I mean, my mom and dad, they were getting very cautious. We kind of thought there was a tornado on the ground because the wind was blowing so hard, and there's a lot of trees that's been blowed down, cut, snapped, everything. trees, trash cans, everything was blown over. Sometimes at the tattletale sound that there could have been rotation in this thunderstorm we currently had, because they did issue a storm warning, storm warning on McCurtain County, Oklahoma, and they finally issued that because I looked on the radar. All it was a winter storm advisory. That's less than a storm watch and a tornado warning. Now some places they might have had tornado warnings or storm warnings. But mostly, guys, please be careful with weather we're currently having nowadays. Even the ones in the unwarned areas, they can see severe weather as well, because it's a possibility. So that's the reason why on the Weather Channel they tell you that there could be a possibility of severe weather, which that means there may not, or there could be a chance that you may get a isolated tornado out of a supersonic thunderstorm, which a parent thunderstorm, or just a little bitty thunderstorm. Little bitty thunderstorms can make worse tornadoes than the big ones do. So always be cautious during storm season like we're currently getting into right now. I know storm season is all year round. Some people might see tornadoes as frequent like here in Oklahoma, but it's not been common as much. But last year we have been seeing tornadoes, Tornado Alley, but now some people down south are seeing tornadoes like we should be seeing in Tornado Alley. So now Dixie Alley is now becoming a newer version of Tornado Alley in their version. Dixie Alley is now becoming a tornado, basically a Tornado Alley. So always pay attention to the weather and the warnings and other stuff like that. Do not be caught off guard. I was almost caught off guard because really I shouldn't let my guard down. Even though we're not in the warned areas, or you're not in the warned areas, it does not mean that there could be a possibility of just rotation in a thunderstorm. Some storms can actually fire up and intensify when they go over another place or some other thing. Because some storms can intensify, and sometimes they may lose their strength, and sometimes they could be below life and property. Life and property means that it's harmless to humans, it's harmless to cattle, animals, anywhere, like in forests, farms. It's harmless to people like us, and harmless to animals, and it's harmless to vehicles and stuff like that. Now, that's the reason why they tell you it's below life and property. The storm has now lost its strength; it's below it. So that's what below life and property means. Now, some of you might think, no, that's not what it probably means. That's what I probably think. That's part of what it is. But that's part of what it does mean. It's below severe limits. That means it's harmless to humans. It's harmless to animals of all sorts. It's harmless to anybody on wherever you live. So just be cautious of that. Don't be a victim of a tornado or severe weather. Don't let it get to you. Always have a Noble radio like this handy. And if you're ever warned in the area, always have it to the Weather Channel, and always have one of these with you. Or any other deal with you, so that way you can get accurate information about thunderstorms with warnings and stuff with them. That is mostly something that everyone in the United States should always be on the lookout for, is mostly severe storms. And mainly there could be some flood threats, so they'll keep you notified with that also. Always stay tuned to Noble Radio, Doppler radar service. We get our Doppler radar service in Shreveport, but anybody that's north of us or west of us, they get theirs from Tulsa. We get ours from Shreveport. And so when we get the Weather Channel, everybody gets the Weather Channel, and every area is different where you're going to get the good days or the bad days, and what you're going to get. If you're in the red, you'll get severe thunderstorms. But if you're in the pure dark red, you're going to likely to see bad thunderstorm activity. If you're in the pink shaped areas, you're mostly going to be likely and more going to see tornado activity in that specific area. That's the reason why you see on the Weather Channel. That's one they outline the areas where there's going to be severe weather. Sometimes there may not be any action with those storms. It could be just an ordinary general thunderstorm. But sometimes some storms can intensify and become a severe thunderstorm, just like here. Like I just told you, we had 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts. The first one was 40 to 50 miles an hour with no lightning in it. Now, the other one we currently got, the last one just came through, it whipped up about 80-mile-an-hour wind gust, almost 90. That's enough. That's enough to blow somebody over. That's actually hurricane force winds. That's like hurricane force winds. So that's actually enough to blow the hat off your face, or on your head actually, like hats like these. But mostly I just brush it off. So that's what I've been doing also. And my parents told me just brush it off, be the bigger man, because my parents had run in with people like that. You know, so I'm just gonna put this as tips. Like I said, I'm just gonna put this as tips, and I don't know. I'll just think of a line for it. So I'll just think of something to make this very interesting. To make the name for this video. I just may not make it nothing. I just may just post it. Someday I'd love to meet all my fans out there, if they can come out at night just to see me, or I'm out in places during the day. Sometimes you may not recognize me. Sometimes I could be eating right beside you and you may not know it. So it's just I'm not afraid if you meet me. Or just say, hey, that's Marshall. I don't mind it. I love it. I would love to see my biggest fans out there. And I know some of you live so far off. Some of you may live here. Some of you might live local. Some of you might live here in Idabel. Some of you might live in Broken Bow. Some of you might live in Antlers, Hugo, wherever you're from. I love to see all my biggest fans, including the ones that my friends' family. They love my videos, and they love seeing their grandfather drive that train. They love it. And they love seeing those locomotives with their grandpa driving them. And their friends driving them. Like I do. I look up to them. I love it. I wouldn't mind becoming an engineer. I always wanted to work for a railroad. I always wanted to. I always wanted to own a railroad. So, do you want to know how much the Queen Eastern Railroad basically sold the company to, or not or the Trilex sold? The International Papers did sell it for $3 million. $3 million K. $3 million K. In slang, that means $3 million. Now, in English, that's what that means. But $3 million K, that's in slang. That's a lot of money for a railroad, really. And basically, the DQ&E Eastern Railroad is a popular railroad in this area. It rakes a lot of money in, and they are doing a little bit of work on this railroad. I hope they get to speed the train up to at least 40 miles an hour where it originally was supposed to be. But back whenever after I end this video, I'm about to end this video really soon. But back there, whenever International Papers had it, that they stopped putting money into the railroad, and they stopped putting money into the funds of the railroad, and so the railroad became they stopped maintaining it. I mean, it was being maintained, but not as much as it used to. They basically just slowed down the maintenance on it, and basically cross ties were a little bit corroded, and they decided to slow down the speed limit on the railroad for a little bit until they decided to replace all the cross ties and stuff like that. And then after that, they might run the train back to 40 miles an hour through there. I remember back when I was a child that they did run 40 miles an hour through Broken Bow. And my friends told me that they used to run on Kiamichi Railroad, and they're doing 10 miles an hour. That's very slow. They really didn't like that. But my friends used to roam on the Kiamichi Railroad because their trestles and other stuff was poor maintenance. But now it's not in poor maintenance anymore. It's up to par. But that's because the old owners of the company had it. So, but now the trestle is fixed. They're running trains back and forth every night, which you currently see when I do a video like that. They love seeing me out there. So now sometimes all my friends have their bad days, but when they see me out there, they're just so happy, so joyful, and they love it. And I love it too. I love being out there, seeing all my biggest fans, including the ones that drives those trains, including the one, you know, they even watch my videos and they love them. Anybody watches my videos, they love them. I wish I was getting a lot of subscribers like I am. A little bit on my other places. You know. But guys, just look me up on. Actually, I got 4 YouTube pages, so just look for the one with the recent videos of the Kiamichi Railroad and the DQ&E. That's the one you need to choose and subscribe if you haven't already. So please, guys, share, subscribe, and give me comments, and tell me what you think, so coming up this month, I've got to go to Valiant to pay off my tickets for accidentally going over the speed limits. So guys, do not be a victim, because on the 12th, I am going to Valiant on a Memorial Day. I'm sorry, guys. Basically on the 12th is on Memorial Day weekend, so he picked a very good one on that one. So now every time when I go through Valiant, I mostly do 30. I do about at least 25. That's speed limit. But mostly I do 30 or 31. So the thing is, don't speed. Like somebody told me, don't speed and it'll be fine. So thing is, don't be texting or driving. Do not be doing this. And you look up, oh! Yeah, you don't want that. And always have your seatbelt on. Always. Free turn the ignition on, or when you have an ignition on, always make sure you buckle your seatbelts. If you're not a farm truck, if you're not a farm truck, if you're a farm truck, you don't have to do that. But even if I'm a farm truck, I still do it anyways. It's a habit, and I always like to, even when I'm rail fanning, I always have my seatbelt on, just in case you get some random fool out there that's drinking or something, or something. But mostly I try to avoid stuff like that. So mostly I try to avoid it. If there's somebody drunk or something, just try to swerve and stuff like that, or just stop. Period. If there's no cars behind you, just and then just call them in, like, hello, what's your emergency? 911. There's a drunk man on the road, or a drunk woman, or whatever. You just tell them where it's at, where they're going, where that at, and they'll meet them down there, and they'll stop them. They'll do that. They will do that. But the point is, do not be drinking or driving. If you're drinking, stay at the bar and wait till that beer wears off. Do not be drinking another one. Basically, you wait for 3 hours. If you drink 3 beers, it's going to be 3 hours before that beer wears off. Unless you were very, very immune to beer. Beer, whiskey, it don't matter. You're always going to have a buzz. If you get a buzz, you better stop. Don't let somebody tell you that. Because basically, if you drink, you drive, there's consequences. And you don't want that. So basically, you wait where you're at for hours. It depends on how many beers you drink. If you drink 1 beer, it's going to be an hour. But after the hour's up, you're fine. But if you're gonna drink 2 or 3 beers, it's gonna be a while. It'd be 3 hours. Cause how many beers you drink is many hours that you're gonna be there. Cause you don't want to leave drunk. And some people may not get drunk because they are individual drivers. Now some people may go to parties or bars and they don't drink. That's really good. But there's no saying that they do or they don't drink. Some of them may drink at home like I do. I drink when I'm at home. When I feel like drinking a beer or whiskey. Mostly when I drink whiskeys when I feel like it. That's mostly on occasions. I don't drink a lot. I'm not like all the other guys out there who drinks beer always. I'm not that type of guy. But also cigarettes also, do not be reaching for a cigarette and not paying attention, and you don't want that either. So basically, if you have a cigarette, just let it go. Just park or just stop at a stop sign. Make sure there's nobody behind you. If there is, just move out of the way and let them go. Or you just move on and go find yourself a parking lot and stay out of their way. Do not be causing road rage, stuff like that, because you really don't want that. Because there's people out there who carries weapons with them. You don't want that. So most of the thing is to be courteous to people. So always speed up. Do not be, that type of thing. Just speed up. Do not just, that type of thing. Okay, do not be running railroad crossings, especially law enforcement or ambulance or fire truck. Fire trucks, ambulance, and policemen of any sort are supposed to stop at a railroad crossing when the railroad lights are flashing or the gates are down. Trains have the right of way, and then also you don't need to be using those lights going through a railroad crossing and turning them off with the gates down. My friends told me that there's been cops running railroad crossings and then turning the lights off. That is actually against the law. That's abuse of using your authorities of doing that. Or basically, I don't know. Abuse of authority or emergency. That's not an emergency. And somebody turns that light on just to get across the railroad, just to get across the tracks, and then turn them off. No, that's actually against the law itself. Because technically, if somebody caught him doing that, he can get very seriously trouble for running a railroad crossing with his lights going. Because basically, anything with flashing lights, if they're in an emergency or not, they're supposed to stop for a train. Period. Always, any emergency vehicle has to stop at a railroad crossing. Especially with the railroad crossing lights and a bell. Even though it's ungated, you're supposed to stop at it, period. Even the ones with gates. You're not supposed to go around the gates. Because you really don't know if there's a train coming or not. Sometimes they may malfunction, sometimes they may not. Now sometimes the train may be stopped at the railroad crossing with the lights on. The bottom running lights and the top lights. That can actually be a warning to cars to basically yield at a railroad crossing with the lights flashing and other stuff, because sometimes the train can be parked there and the lights will start flashing. So mostly be cautious of the railroad crossing with the train sitting there with their lights on or on dim, because they could be getting ready to turn their lights on and you may not know it. And sometimes at nighttime, just be careful when you're approaching a railroad crossing, especially with a train sitting there with lights flashing or anything like that. Because sometimes they may sound the horn off and you just went through there and it just went. Yeah, you don't want that. So that's the reasons why you should always stop at a railroad crossing. If you don't, what happens? You get smacked, and you don't want that. That would ruin an engineer's day really quick or their night. So if you're at a railroad crossing, it really don't matter if the train's parked there, or they're parked there, or they're about to move. Same preference. You're supposed to stop at a flashing light railroad crossing. Period. Especially at a rural railroad crossing known as a crossing buck. If they're parked out in the middle of nowhere and Because if they're parked in the middle of nowhere, you're supposed to stop at it anyways, because you really don't know if they're going to move or not. So you got to be cautious of that. Even if the bottom line lights are not on, you should still view that as the train's right there. So you're supposed to stop at that. But if the lights are going to still be on, that's them telling you that they could be getting ready to leave, or they're warning you they're right there. So do not be don't be running through there with them right there like that. Mostly, if you see them right there, and even though their lights are on or off, the top or the bottom, you should still view that they could be getting ready to move. So you should stop, and then go across, because they'll sound the horn anyways. But after they sound the horn off, some people will go, and it's sometimes at night that they could be moving so slow, but they're actually moving fast. So they'll get there for you, but that depends though. But trains will win every time, so it doesn't matter how fast you're going, because sometimes they may look like they're far off, but the trains actually you're both getting there at the exact same time. But he'll go and get there first, and so you don't want to be a victim of a railroad accident, because you don't want to be a victim of that. Trains hurt 10 times worse than an 18-wheeler. Just always, guys, pay attention, guys. Do not be going in the right or left lane, because there's been a couple accidents lately here in the state of Oklahoma. People's been passing in a no passing zone, and then they just get, that's no bueno. No running railroad crossing. Stop at railroad crossing with guys with the lights and stuff are flashing. If they're flashing, the train's sitting there. Like I said, it really don't matter if the bottom lights are on or off. Or it don't matter, because they can be getting ready to move and stuff like that. So be cautious of that. So that's the only thing I can tell you about that is just be cautious of a train sitting right there, because you really don't know if they're taking off slowly and stuff like that, or they're getting ready to take off. And sometimes they might have their running lights to tell you that they're right there. So don't be doing something that you really don't want to regret. That's the only thing I can tell you about that. So be careful out there. Be careful when you're crossing railroad tracks. Be careful. Be careful when you're driving. Do not be like those people I've been telling you about. They've been passing around a curb where there's no passing, and or passing on a straightaway where you don't need to pass, because there's no passing zones there for a reason. Now there's a couple of curves where you can pass, and you can see them coming towards you. That's different. But there's some spots where there are some curves that you cannot see, and so there's no need to risk your life or their life in the other lane or yourself. So I'm just telling you out there, be careful whenever you pass a vehicle, period. Especially if they're far off in the distance. Now, if they're far off in the distance, just gas it and just pass the person and get over. Now, if they're very close in distance, you gas it and get over immediately. Now, if they're like very close, do not tempt it. Now, if there is no cars in the other lane, then you still just gas it and go on, or just do normal speed and then get over. But mostly when I pass a vehicle in the daytime, I mostly gas it, because you don't want to risk it or anything like that. Because mostly some cars may not have their lights on during the daytime, so that it's hard to see a vehicle, especially when there's no sun. Now, the only way you can ever tell that there is a car coming and you don't see their front lights are on is when the sun's glowing down on that car, period. Because when the sun hits a car, period, it's going to shine. And there's different colors of vehicles, so you always be careful, because every car has different colors, and they really don't have no lights on. Especially when it's raining, guys. Especially whenever it's foggy or anything like that, you should always have your lights on in the daytime, especially when it's cloudy and also when it's raining. Because personally, it's actually against the law the law to have your lights off, especially during the day. Even if it's in the daytime, you gotta have your daytime lamps on always. Daytime, when it's sunny, or when it's cloudy, rainy, or snowy. So that way is if you're passing somebody and they can see you. Because basically, if a car don't have no lights on when you're passing, that's because mostly cars are mostly invisible whenever you're passing in the other lane. If they don't got their lights on, they're coming toward you. It's the other person's fault, but it's still yours because you should have known that there was a car coming. So be cautious of people with no lights on when they're going down the road. I just don't like that when somebody don't have their headlights on. Their headlights on, period. They gotta have them on always. But I mean, y'all can do what y'all want. Y'all can have your lights on or off. But mostly, if it's a rainy condition, weather, snowy or whatever, you need to have them on. So that if people or some people are wanting to pull out to the main highway or go across, they can see you and they may not try to beat you. And because sometimes the weather conditions and stuff like that, you mostly cannot see them, and they can see you, but they don't know you see them. So that's mostly why you should always make sure you have your lamps on. I'm sorry guys if I do that. But I'm also gonna wrap this up for y'all. So I'm gonna try to think of a name for this. I wanna try to give you I'll just name this giving y'all tips and stuff like that. I'll just name it, just give y'all tips. So, further ado, guys, see you guys next time. I will see you in my next adventures on the Kiamichi Railroad and the DQ&E. I'm going to try to make it out to other railroads besides the two companies that I currently target. But mostly I try to get away from work first. So mostly I might try on a Saturday if I ain't going nowhere with my parents. Or if I ain't fishing. Or I may do that also when I'm fishing too. But we will see. But I will try to make other videos besides the Kiamichi Railroad and the DQ&E. I know some of you guys are getting pretty tired of watching the exact same engine going down the line, and then it's getting tiresome. There's no other places where you can film. You're filming at nighttime. That's the only time I can ever film is at nighttime. That's the only time when they want to roll. Now sometimes on the DQ&E, they'll leave in the daytime going back to DeQueen, Arkansas, but I'm mostly at work when that happens. Now sometimes all my friends will mostly leave in there in daytime or at nighttime. It depends on their schedule. But I want to try to be out there every time if I can, but mostly I got to try to get in because I mostly got work. So, work before play. So guys, this goes for everybody out there, guys. These are basically tips, and this is my life story. So, basically, I'm just gonna call this giving y'all tips about stuff. So, and just giving y'all good news. So, further ado. I will see you guys later. See you guys next time. I'll see you on the hot rails of the railroads, bro. I'll see you on the hot iron nose, the hot rails of all the railroads. So, further ado, see you guys later. Martin out. Thank you for subscribing. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and please help out my channel. Please help it out. I need your help. Please. I'm asking y'all, please watch my videos. They're pretty cool, and they're different than other short lines and other first-class rail lines. Basically, I'm filming railroads that y'all don't know if it exists or not, and I'm putting it out there that it does exist. It does exist here. Because basically, all the railroads are different. They have different logos and different color schemes on their locomotives, especially on the DQ&E. But I showed my friends a picture of the locomotives that the DeQueen Eastern Railroad has. It is actually sitting in DeQueen at the base right now. It's being inspected before they actually take it out on the line. So on the road. So known as the railroad. And they might be getting two of them to replace the ones that's been smashed and wrecked. So UP and the DQ&E, they both had a real accident with each other. They both hit each other. The engineers, they all jumped off the train. They all did, and they just both hit each other. Boom. So that was about it. So they're sitting there in derricks. So hopefully pretty soon hopefully I'll get up there and see them, because I'd love to see what they look like, and give you a video of what they look like and stuff like that. I want to do that and show you guys that's what happens if two trains hit each other. Basically, something probably wondered, does railroads have insurance against each other? They do. There is insurance. Basically, the two railroads are actually fighting that out, because basically it's somebody's fault. But it don't matter. It happens on every railroad. It don't matter. Accidents happen. So basically, the other company will pay for the other company's engine, and then the other company will just get a new engine to replace those two. It's been wrecked and smashed. So there has been a road accident in this area, but it's mostly east of Oklahoma into Arkansas. So UP and the Queen Eastern Railroad hit each other. That happens on every railroad. That happens, but it don't matter. It doesn't matter. Accidents happen. So they're fighting it out. So basically, pretty soon the two companies will get two brand new engines on both their railroads. So it don't matter. Accidents happen. Marshall out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. See you next time. Marshall out. Thanks for watching. This goes out here to all my biggest fans out there, including my viewers and my subscribers. Same thing. Marshall out. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. See you next time.